welcome back to another colorful keto with Dory. It feels like it's been forever since we've done this. Like, forever. I don't even know how many weeks it's been since we've just sat down together instead of inviting a guest for Motivational Monday and just chatting. So I figured today we will talk about whatever you guys want to talk about to stay motivated. Starting keto, getting back on track, and I'm hungry. So I figured, if you guys are watching on Facebook, you see in the description, we're going to make a single serve hemp heart faux rice as well, because Dory's hungry and it's time of day to eat. So I started out with 4 mushrooms that I cut up. Three. There was 3 in there. So there's 3 mushrooms cut up. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of hemp heart. Get that right in there. And then we're going to add, I like to add a little bit of nutritional yeast to my faux rice. It's got a lot of really good nutrients in it. I don't find the flavor very strong, and I do really like it in this dish. So I add a teaspoon of that. And then seasoning of choice. Today I'm going to use my Who Needs the Onion soup mix, because I find that one gives it not really a beefy or a chicken flavor. It's just a nice onion base. So I'm going to put a half of a teaspoon of that in there as well. Now I just boiled my water, but I want it to be hard boil. So I'm going to set that on to boil again. And there we go. And I usually add about 1/3 of a cup of water. This is dependent on the texture that you like for a faux rice. So more or less depending on what you like. Now with the amount of moisture I have in there, that should cook out to be about right. So I'm going to pop this into the microwave. Let's see if I can turn it without spilling. There we go. Pop this in the microwave 1 minute. Make sure you cover it up. Like anything else you make in the microwave, Dory is a microwave disaster lady. Like, the microwave is where all my stuff goes to blow up and make the biggest mess ever. Miss Chantal, my darling, I have not seen you in forever. It has been like super long time. If you guys don't know Chantal, she is one of my very first OG ladies, and a couple years ago I helped her create a keto recipe for her wedding cake. So we're sealed for life forever. Like, you're stuck with me, girl. There's no getting rid of Dory now. We're best friends forever. So I'm curious what you guys are struggling with this week. What has been a challenge for you? Where are you succeeding, and how can I help? Is there anything going on that we can talk about and help with this week? Are you struggling with any recipes? Is there really anything that we can talk about this week to help us stay all, yeah, see, and look at what I said. I'm literally bringing this out to show you guys what I did. The microwave is the place where all of Dory's stuff goes to blow up. Fantastic, Dory. See, these are the parts you guys don't usually see that I edit out when you're like, oh, Dory, your life is so smooth and, you know, nothing bad ever happens in yo kitchen. So I guess we're going to just transfer it to a different bowl. Let me grab a different bowl. Because, man, we made a mess, but it smells good. So on the plus side, I think it's going to taste like awesomeness. But we're just going to transfer it over to the new one so that we can get rid of all of that mess. Messy Dory. Oh, and it's hot too, by the way. I kind of burned myself a little bit. Okay, now that we've transferred it into the other ramekin, at this point I add whatever nut mix I want. Today I'm going to add pecan, but I'll sometimes add a little bit of slivered almond or a little bit of walnut. Today we're going to add some pecan pieces to it. And I'm going to have to rinse this because it is going to have to go back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. So Oh, I don't know what you guys are going to do to amuse yourselves while I go rinse it. I'd call the dog over to amuse you, but she's in trouble. She pooped on my floor today. And I was like, you wouldn't do a thing like that, would you? Yeah, she would. And yeah, she did. Good dog. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to quick give this a rinse so we can put it back in the microwave. Bear with me for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to pop that back in the microwave just for another 30 seconds. If I can get my microwave back together. There we go. Cover her up. And my cover's a mess too, of course. There we go. 30 seconds. On we go. So, I guess it's nice to share that with you guys too. Everything isn't always smooth in my kitchen. But I feel like when you only see the finished product, when you only see the end result, the fun pictures and the videos, it looks like it's easier for me than it is for everybody else. And I promise it's not. Like, it's not. And before I started keto, I didn't understand about healthy eating or healthy cooking. Everything I ate pre-keto came out of a box or came out of a can. I bought into that really hard. I can't afford to eat better. I can't afford to eat healthy. Healthier food costs too much money. And I had to learn it all from scratch when I started keto. I didn't know how to prepare anything, make anything. But I'm going to tell you guys, it only took me about 2 months. Each phase of my keto was 2 months. It took about 2 months to get it down, to understand what was going on, to know what I could and couldn't eat without second guessing. That took about 2 months. And then it took me 2 months to learn how to cook all of those foods. And within another 2 months, I already learned how to create things that I wanted that I couldn't find. So if you're struggling now and you're like, it's too hard, I can't do it, I can't figure it out, I want to encourage you to just keep trying, because it does get easier. And now, when I look back on the beginning of my keto, I think, why did I even think this was going to be hard? Because it's not. It's meat, it's fat, it's vegetables, and that's pretty much it. It's not all that complicated unless you want it to be. If you want to track your macros, track your numbers, track your fat intake, you can do all of those things. If you're one of those people who loves the information and the numbers, feel free to do that. But you don't have to do that to be successful on keto. All you really need to do is focus on eating good, clean, homemade, whole foods as much as possible, and a lot of those things will take care of themselves. I love you too, Chantal. Oh, she said her anniversary is on the 28th. 2 years, baby. Can you believe it's been 2 years? Like, we've been doing this together for 2 years already. It blows my mind. Some days I feel like it's been 6 months, and some days I feel like it's been 5 years. Like, I don't know how to describe our journey together. It's been so much fun that the time is literally just flying by us. And when I began all of this craziness 2.5 years ago, I didn't really have a goal in mind. I didn't have anywhere that I was trying to get to, or really any direction. I just knew that I love keto, and I had to share that I have something different, maybe than what everybody else shares. I love to think out of the box. I love to be creative. I love a challenge. Like, if somebody messages me and says, Dory, I want something, but I can't have this and this and this, I'm like, challenge accepted. Because for me, the whole entire key of what I do is just helping people be more creative. And when I first started, I had very lofty goals. I never intended to make actual recipes like you guys get from me now. You know, where I write down ingredients and stuff for you. I never intended to do that. My intention was just to come on my channel and let you guys hang out with me and show you how I'm creative. I never really intended to make set recipes, and I learned very quickly that people don't want that. Like, that's not really what people are looking for. They want to know that someone else has made something, created it, and they can do it and replicate it, and it's going to work out. So, you know, we've kind of changed gears a lot from the beginning of what I was doing and just sharing my journey with you guys. So always evolving and always changing. So if there's different types of content or other things that you guys are interested in that you want for us to learn about together, let me know. There's always room to expand and learn new things. Here we cover everything from self-care to healthy eating to mental health concerns. We do a lot of fun hair stuff. We joke about our animals and harass them, dress them up. Hello, so much fun. But if there's anything that we haven't covered here yet that you want to talk about that would help you in your journey, reach out to me or leave it in the comments, and we will certainly do some research and look into it together. So I'm going to grab out my hemp heart rice because now I can eat it. So now we can see that it's all firmed up. Well, mostly. It's got a little bit of juice left in there, but I kind of do like it that way. So then it's kind of like your rice and your sauce. If you want it to be less saucy, add less water or more hemp heart, whichever is to your liking. But for me, this is a nice substitute for rice or quinoa. Takes a little while to chew. Just give me a minute. So when I make rice or pasta at home, this is often what I will make. And I just need one little dish for myself. So, quick and easy. Okay, I'm going to scroll and see if we have any questions. Give a couple highs there on Instagram. I'm so excited for you, Miss Chantal. It's so cool when I look back at the ladies who've been here since the very beginning. And if you guys are new to me, I love you too. I don't love you any less if you haven't been around since the beginning. But when you touch base with somebody that was there right at the beginning when you started, and they saw you in all of your nervous, uncomfortable, awkward glory, that's a bond. But I'm going to tell you guys, if you're new, it's not too late to get that bond. You can totally watch some of my awkward, older videos, and we can, like, bond over it. Oh, if you're looking for awkward, I suggest my welcome video when I started my YouTube channel. And it was awkward because, A, I learned all about keto online, so nobody ever spoke it out loud to me. And when I decided I was going to start my very own channel, I turned on the camera and I was very nervous and I didn't know exactly what to say. And 28 takes later, I ended up with a video that said, "Hi, I'm Dory. Welcome to my channel where we're going to learn all about the ketogenic diet together." So if you know a lot about the ketogenic diet or nothing at all about the ketogenic diet, we are going to learn about that together. We're going to laugh and we're going to learn together. And I think that it makes me awkward and uncomfortable, but I leave that video up because it is authentically who I am and where I began. And a lot of my knowledge is online based, so therefore mispronounced. And also I'm kind of famous for mispronouncing things. So, if you've never been smooth and, called G-Gee, or, if you've never met Matt and Mega and called her Maja in public, there's room for that kind of smoothness here too. Oh my goodness. Chantel says, you're absolutely amazing. Don't let anybody ever make you feel different. And you know what? I think that no matter what you do on the internet, and it doesn't matter, honestly, even just as a private person on Facebook, it doesn't matter what you do on the internet. People will always have something to say about it. Good, bad, otherwise. People will always criticize you. And when you say, my mama taught me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all, then people say, well, then don't be up on the internet. If you don't want people's opinion and you don't want to hear what they have to say to you, then, just don't go up on the internet. So I think there's a fine line between that and struggling to find who you are without letting other people influence you. I mean, a lot of people have really good constructive criticism, and they say things that you can take to heart and use to improve your content. And sometimes people are just being mean for the sake of being mean. You are an abstract concept to them. You are some weird stranger on the internet. They can say whatever they want. And you need to learn to kind of filter that. I wouldn't say that you necessarily want to ignore everything that everybody says about you, because some things are good constructive criticism. But when somebody says to me, oh, Dory, you're too silly, you're too much fun, nobody wants to watch that, I don't consider that constructive criticism. Because I think, you know what? There are lots of people, sure, they don't want that fun, that silly, that dancing, but then they won't watch my content. They're not my people. And doing what I do in my own home makes me happy. So if you guys want to join me and hang out, I am always so excited to have you and include you in that. But for the people who don't like what we do here, then all I say is go somewhere else. If you don't like what we do, there are plenty of places to go and hang out and learn about keto. And that is only growing and growing and growing. 2.5 years ago, I never heard the word keto. And now you can't go anywhere without somebody striking up a conversation. Oh, hey, have you heard about that new keto thing? Oh, I hear you're on that keto diet. That's not very healthy, by the way. Which is still kind of the general consensus in the public that doesn't really understand why we eat this way. So I feel like that is slowly changing, and we all have the opportunity to share our story with our friends, our family, our coworkers, our loved ones, and that's how we get it out there. It's not going to be the big companies and the big influencers. It's going to be everyday people, because let's be honest, we've all had a lifetime of the food industry and doctors lying to us. Who even trusts the average doctor or the food industry or the advertising or the big food marketing companies? Nobody trusts them. We trust our own friends, our own family, the people that we know that matter to us. And that's how we will help everybody be healthier eventually. I do really feel like keto will become mainstream, and one day we'll just call it the way we eat, and it won't be a diet. But until we get there, we each get that opportunity every day. There is someone that you will encounter today that needs to know about keto. And I'm not saying, go all crazy and just start knocking on people's doors. Have you heard the good word of keto? I'm not recommending you do that. But we all know that there is at least one person who crosses our paths every day that's looking for something. They're struggling the way that we were struggling, and we can help them if we just speak up. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. It's not easy to talk to people about what they eat, about health. It's something that I think has been discouraged for a lot of years, and I think is really not helped or assisted by the fat acceptance movement. We're going to do a video about that one day, and I think we're going to sit down and talk all about that, because I think, well, I wouldn't say I think, I know, I 100% know for sure that when I was 290 pounds, I would have felt very differently about the fat acceptance, body positivity movement. I would have been right on board with that, because it played right into all of the reasons and excuses that I made for myself. People shouldn't be able to just look at you and assume that you eat garbage. Well, I was 290 pounds. Let's safely assume I was eating garbage. But when someone said to me, oh, you're fat because you eat garbage, I'd be like, you don't know. I don't eat garbage. I barely eat it all. I don't even know why I'm fat. So that would have really, really played right into my illness with food, my poor relationship with food. And now that I'm on the other side of obesity, and there is life on the other side of obesity, I never thought there was. I didn't think it was for me. I didn't think I would ever be healthy. And taking everything personal and being offended when people talk to me about my health, that was really the only defense mechanism that I had. What else could I bring to the table? I was eating junk. I was hoarding food. I was hiding food. I was eating 3 or 4 chocolate bars a day and then pretending like that's healthy. I don't understand why I'm fat. So I know that a lot of us really struggle with some of those old mindsets. Even though we're smaller and we're healthier, those things are still there. Those behaviors are still underlying. Those symptoms are still underlying. These are things that will never go away. They say that an alcoholic is always an alcoholic. They're just not drinking. And I will always be a food addict. I will always have binge eating issues. I will always have stress eating issues. But the question is, are you managing the symptoms? Because I know I will never wake up one day and be healed from a lifetime of poor food choices. It takes time. It takes healing. Like any other relationship, it's work, and you get out of it what you put into it. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be truthful about what you're eating and why you're eating it. The why was the biggest part for me. Why? Why did I feel like I deserve 3 chocolate bars? Who freaking deserves 3 chocolate bars? Nobody. I did. I deserved them, and I earned them, I don't know, probably by not killing people. Look at me. Yay me, I didn't murder anyone today. 3 chocolate bars for you, Dory. You get a chocolate bar, you get a chocolate bar, everybody gets a chocolate bar. And I had, at the time, a man in my life who also enabled that. I think part of it, he enjoyed that I was so large that I wasn't overly attractive to other men. It made him feel good about himself, that he could, see past all of my size and everything that I was, because he was such a good human being. He was a good soul. And it didn't matter to him that I was 290 pounds. He thought I was beautiful. And he encouraged those behaviors. And when I say encouraged them, if he went chocolate bar shopping, he would buy himself one and he would buy me 2. And I would eat them both. And then I would lay my head on his shoulder and I would say, I could have just one bite of your chocolate bar. Just one bite. And he would give it. he would give it. He would give me 2 full chocolate bars and then a bite of his too. And I was like, oh, you're such a good man. Share your chocolate with me. Oh, he's a good man. But he wasn't being a good man. He wasn't helping me to improve myself. He wasn't helping me to be healthy. And when I had my weight loss surgery and I started to lose weight, all of his insecurities came out of the woodwork. Like, it was insane. And at that point, I realized that he was in a relationship with me, not in spite of my fatness, but because of my fatness. Because I was, in his eyes, undesirable to other men who weren't him. So I would never find someone better or leave him. And it got bad. It got ugly. And for a lot of us, when we're on a weight loss journey, we end up finding new partners, new friends, new support groups, because not everyone who is in it to win it with you. Some people just like that leg up that they have over you, that control that they have over you, because you can't do better, right? I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to leave me? You're going to leave me? Where are you going to find another man who will put up with your fat ass? You ain't leaving me. You ain't going nowhere. Chantel says, it's a Canadian thing. Oh, you're absolutely amazing. Don't anybody make you feel differently. It's a Canadian thing. Yes, Canadians are awesome. We are. I'm just going to put it out there and say, we rock, y'all. Everybody asks me if I'm from Minnesota, too. So I almost wonder if people from Minnesota sound like people from Canada, because I get that question a lot. People will say, are you from Minnesota or are you Canadian? Canadian, baby, Canada. Is hailing from Canada. Chantel says, I'm a nurse, and that's so stupid. And it's, honestly, we each need to make that choice for ourselves, right? We all have our own bullshit meter. We know what works for us, what is right for us, and it doesn't really matter. You can't unring the bell. 100,000 people could come to me at this point and say, keto is not healthy. And I would say, you just don't understand. It works for me. I like it. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I am depression symptom free for the first time in my life. And that's not something I ever thought was possible. In my early 20s, I was diagnosed with dysthymia, is what they called it at the time. And they've now decided to call it severe depressive disorder. But basically, it means that my depression is not an imbalance. There is no chemical imbalance in my brain that causes me to be depressed. I am just a depressive personality. Now, at that time, they did tell me that talk therapy would help, and going to regular sessions and speaking about my issues would help. But the bottom line is I just needed to learn to cope better, because it's not an imbalance that they can fix with medication. And in your early 20s, that's a very sobering thought to face, that the rest of your life is just going to be about depression, about trying to get from one day to the next and just clawing through that day to start the next day that you knew you didn't want to start either. Because in that deep of a depression, ain't nobody want to do it. Ain't nobody want to get out of bed. You just want to lay in bed and let the world go on around you and just slowly cease to exist. That's really what that kind of depression does to you. So after 40 years of living that, it's such a relief to find keto and not constantly feel like I'm walking under a dark cloud. And my life is not easier. My life is no less stressful. But I've learned to cope better. And that's what really makes a difference, is learning how to cope. Miss Lisa, it is so nice to see you. So awesome to see you. Chantel says, yes, Canadians do sound like people from Minnesota. Her husband is from Fargo. And Chantel also says, our journey is ours and no one else's. And that is the bottom line. A lot of people will stand in line to tell you, you're not doing keto right. You're not living your life right. I mean, when my son was small, people stood in line to tell me I wasn't parenting right. You can never please everybody, bottom line. It's never going to happen. When my son was small, people would say things to me like, oh, you're too strict on him. You should let him run wild a little bit and, do all the things that kids do. I didn't want a disrespectful young man. I didn't want a child who was disrespectful. So I was very strong in my belief that he was not allowed to behave disrespectfully. And as a consequence, my son is now 21 years old and he's amazing and he's respectful. But a lot of people stood in line to tell me I wasn't a good mother, I wasn't doing it right, I wasn't raising him right. And at the end of the day, I had to dig in my heels and just do it my own way. And it's the same with keto. If people are around you telling you that you're not doing it right, dig in your heels and let them go along their merry way and continue your journey for you. If you are doing this for anyone other than you, you'll fail, because we lose inspiration so quickly when we're not properly motivated. For me, I knew my health made a difference and I had to make that choice. At the time that I had my surgery, I was only 10 years away from my mother's heart attack, her stroke, her diabetes, all of the complications that she had going on. She was in better health than I was in my early 20s. So it was only a matter of time. In all honesty, guys, if I hadn't had my surgery 8 years ago, I might not be here today. 2 years, in 2 years from now, I was due for my mother's first heart attack. So you don't know, but it's never too late. It's never too late to start improving your health now. We're going to talk a little bit next month about seniors' health as well. The Newsy Neighbor has asked me to provide an article as well as a recipe for November's issue. And November's issue is focused on seniors' health. So we're going to talk a lot next month on my channel about avoiding, treating, and improving things like dementia and Alzheimer's and other brain conditions and just issues that come as we age and brain health. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I get to get my elbows in and do some research for you guys. I mean, I already know the basis of why a ketogenic diet helps in these situations, but we're going to get right down into it and do some research so that I can write an amazingly informative article. Dory, article writer. I'm so excited about that, by the way. And speaking of collaborations, I have two company collaborations and 2 YouTube collaborations this month. So if you want to go check out on YouTube, I did keto reviews, and we did reviews and recipes for Halloween. I did the Teal Pumpkin Project, so we had a whole bunch of ladies get together and show you how to join in on the Teal Pumpkin Project. Then this month is the very first month that you will find my signature recipes in the Keto for All Canada subscription box. Whoa! An exclusive! So you have to get the box to get the recipes. I haven't got my October box yet, but I'll show you guys the recipe card when it comes. I'm super excited. And then I also have my first published recipe in my local neighborhood magazine that I'm going to be writing for next month. So stay tuned. And things are growing and changing. And I'm really excited to have you guys come with me on this journey every step of the way. All the weirdness, all of the awkwardness, all of the, mispronunciations of things. Do you guys know what I did? I wonder if you guys know what I did. When I went to the first KetoCon, which was in 2018, they asked me if I would like to do a live at the Peterson's booth. They had it all set up so that we could sit and chat and do awesome lives, and I did it. It was amazing. I was totally proud of myself. And then I was watching the replay after, and I was like, did I just say Pendersons? Did I actually say Pendersons? I did. Not once, not twice, 3 times, sitting under a big giant sign that says Petersons. Yep, that's what kind of smoothness you got in store around here. Just saying. If you ever did something weird, uncomfortable, and/or awkward in public, hiya girl, I feel you. I totally understand how this goes. And you would think that I'd get smoother with time. Not really. Not really. It's not all that much fun. Lisa says, you go girl, congratulations. Oh, Lisa, yes. She said both of her parents passed in their early 60s. My grandma was 61. My mom was 72. And we knew my mom was going. When she got diagnosed with her cancer, they diagnosed her in October. And they told us that with chemo, which would take about 6 months to go through the course of chemo, that at the end of that would probably give her another 6 months. So we were looking at 1 year total, and she did make it a little bit further than that. She passed away in December. So from her diagnosis, it was 14 months. And in the beginning, the chemo really helped. Like, it was amazing. The chemo helped. I mean, it tired her out. It was exhausting for her, but it did help. By the end of her course of chemo, her one tumor had reduced to 1/3 of its size. 1 month later, that one tumor had tripled again in size and 4 more had grown. At that point, my mom didn't want to go through it anymore. She didn't want to do the chemo anymore. And we sat down as a family and we agreed that she didn't have to anymore. And that was hard. It was a really hard decision to make because the selfish part of me wanted to make her. I wanted to make her do it so that she could live. But she didn't want to, and she was suffering, and I understand. And at that point, she decided it was easier just to stop and let nature take its course. Now, I think I have a great sense of guilt with this, because what I know now about eating really would have helped her at the end. And that's part of why I do what I do, because I think, you know what, there's someone else out there that is in that position that my mother was, and it's not too late to help them. So, before I turn into a big blubbery mess, because clearly we can tell Dory's not over this. I have a really hard time talking about this when this comes up, but yeah, Chantal says she's peeing her pants thinking about that. So I'll leave on a funny note, and I'll tell you guys one more funny story if you think I ever get any smoother, because that doesn't happen. So this year's KetoCon, which is 2019, I was getting all set up, and Joette, if you guys don't know Joette, I adore her, electric. She sent me a video of the girls on their way, and they're dancing in the car, and of course they're singing to my song. Hello, who knows what my song is? My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. So I decide I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to make them a video for them to watch while they're, rolling down. So I go out onto the sidewalk, I take out my phone, I turn on the song, I turn on my record, and I start just giving it. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. I can teach you, but I'd have to charge. And just as I was doing that, Doc Muscles walked by, and I was like, oh, hello. That wasn't entirely awkward at all. Hi, I'm Dory. Oh, because this is what makes life fun. You know what? Like, being being awkward, being weird, not taking yourself too seriously, and just going out there and doing it. That's what life is for. I spent too many years saying I don't know enough about that to do that. Keto is the one and only thing that I knew nothing about, and I didn't care. I was like, I can learn it along the way. I will figure it out. I'm smart. I've got this. And since realizing that I can just jump in and do something and learn along the way, look at all the things we've learned along the way. I learned how to make Facebook videos. I learned how to make YouTube. I learned how to Instagram and to TikTok and to Pinterest. And all of these things are things I had not a clue about. So, if you're worried that you can't start keto because you don't know enough, you don't have to know it all. You just got to know that you want to be healthier, eat healthier, have fun, and start doing it today. And know that you can learn along the way. No one is going to be pointing their finger at you. Well, maybe they will, but I won't let them point their finger at you and say you're not doing it right. Because if you are striving towards eating healthier and being healthier, you're doing it right. That's the ultimate goal, and you got this. You're doing it right. Chantel says, Dory, you can't change life. You're not a god. That's right. Well, and I did what I could. And I got to be there for my mom at the end. And I got to continue supporting her after by taking care of my brother. So we all have a purpose in life. And we all have something to share. And if you are holding back from sharing, don't. That's all I can say is don't hold back. Someone needs to hear what you have to say. I absolutely adore you guys. I'm going to sign out for now. It's just about time for me to go pick up Jacob. So let's get our song back. And then stay tuned. I'm going to put together a couple recipes this afternoon to post for you guys. We're still on the big Halloween push. Like, if you're tired of Halloween recipes, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. We got 2 more weeks of that. And I started early in September, so I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. And remember, if you have something to share, get in touch. Let's do that.